Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Attachment is a mental slavery. So the Holocaust of attachment means the Holocaust of mental dependence. And anything that you are dependent upon, you become a slave to that. So Holocaust of attachment means the Holocaust of dependency, or what dependency does to a human being. What is the definition of attachment? The definition of attachment is going and falling at the feet of somebody and say, make me happy. That's what attachment is. Keep me happy, make me happy. My happiness, my peace, my thing is in your hands. So when you give your mental peace, when you give this to others, that is called attachment. And you become so dependent on, and you become extremely dependent on that. In the beginning, attachment looks like you are a master. It appears to be like you are the master and the other is a slave. That's how the human being gets very confused. It appears like you are the master and other is the slave. Very soon you realize that the roles simply get reversed. Even before you know how it happened, even before you know when did it happen, it changes. You become the slave and the other becomes the master. When the other turns into the master, that is where the pain of attachment starts coming. But you have become a slave already that you can't let go of it also. Because very difficult to let go. So, to summarize all that we have been studying till now, as in the Holocaust of attachment, is attachment equals a mental slavery, a mental bondage. Mental bondage, mental slavery means dependency. And how do you explain dependency? I'm repeating again. How do you explain dependency? Make me happy. That's all. So wherever you go and tell the other, make me happy, you can understand it as attachment. Okay. Now you are telling the other, make me happy. What is the other telling you? Okay, you are going and telling the other, make me happy. Is the other happy? So the other is not happy. So when you go to the other and tell me, make me happy, what the other is doing? What is the other doing? The other tells you, first you make me happy, then I will make you happy. Yeah. So I go and tell the other, make me happy. So the other tells me what? Correct. I will make you happy, provided you make me happy. This mutual making, trying to make happy to one another is called attachment. But people call it as love. People call it as love. But But in Vedanta, we don't call it as love, we call it as attachment. And this is the definition of attachment. When one weak person goes and relates with another weak person, it's not that weakness plus weakness equals strong. Weakness plus weakness equals weakness square. And if four weak people get together, it will be that many times. Therefore, what happens, he says in this book, that the whole, take it, you can take it as a family unit, or you can take it at the society level, country level, humanity itself in general. There is a total Holocaust because of this. So one weakness plus another weakness doesn't make you weak person, and weak person getting together doesn't become strong, isn't it? A time comes where the negotiation starts. So I'll say, okay, first half of the day you will make me happy. Second half of the day I will make you happy. And then the fight starts. Who will be the first one to? Who will be the first one? That's all. So it is always the other. First you do to me, then I'll do to you. Or even if something is done, it comes with a condition. That's why attachment is nothing but love with terms and conditions. So what is attachment? One of the things, topics we have. Love equals, attachment means love, TNC. TNC applied. Yeah. And the TNC, nobody knows what the TNC is, isn't it? It is like this. You see a one full page advertisement, 70% off, isn't it? There's no 70% off there. Somewhere it will be written, star, TNC apply. The fellow who gave the advertisement won't know what the TNC is. The person who's going to buy won't know what the TNC is. But having gone there, you are caught, because having gone there, it doesn't really matter. Get something. So, what is attachment? It is love with terms and conditions. What is the term and condition? Me first, then you. That is the terms. And so, what is the terms and conditions? Very simple. Very simple and straightforward. Me first, then comes you. I will say, it's not that I'm not going to take care of you. It's not that I'm ignoring you or neglecting you. First, me. So the other person also, when the other also says the same thing, it becomes a problem. So what is the opposite of it? It's where he keeps on saying, after you, after you. So to get out of the attachment is after you. So me first, you comes later. We reverse it. We reverse it to you first. And then it stops there. There is no me second. There's no, the moment me second comes, it's a question of time, the me will come first. Therefore, it is you first, and then it stops. So when it stops, there is only you. That is called love. That's called love. So in love, the attention is on the other. Attention means what I can do to, how I can be of some help, how I can be of some assistance. This attachment is misunderstood as love, and how it wreaks havoc at all the levels of the personality is the current topic. Every week, one more new story we are giving for attachment, isn't it? How many ever stories are given, still some other thing is, still something else is there. So this attachment wreaks havoc. Mind wreaks havoc. In that topic, mind wreaks havoc, we saw at the material level, at the physical, at the emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. In all the five, the center point is me. In all the five, there is one thing in common. What is that one thing in common that runs through the five? It is me, my religion. Of all the attachments, the deadliest attachment is to religion. Because in all other attachments, you will be harsh, you will come back and regret. You will be harsh, you will regret. But the religious attachment makes you to believe that you are the noblest. That's why you can slaughter millions in the name of God and not feel guilty at all. Normally, you shout at someone, that evening you will feel guilty. That night you will feel bad. You tell yourself, oh my God, why this kind of reaction isn't required at all. Maybe you'll apologize, or mostly you will mentally apologize. When it comes to religious attachment, it is so justified. So he says, of all the attachment, religious attachment is the deadliest. Why? Because it makes you believe you are a moral person. It makes you believe that there is nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. And we have seen this any number of times. All religions talks about love, and most wars are fought in the name of religion. We say all religions, we say they talk about love. Again, what you have to understand, love within brackets. Wherever anybody talks about love, please understand something is hidden there in dotted lines. What is it? With terms and conditions. All religion talks about love. As long as you love my God, it is TNC apply. So it has to be my God. It has to be. It's not about God alone. Religion is, here we are using the word religion in a very comprehensive way to include morals, ethics, etc. Morals, ethics, all comes under the subject matter of religion in this context. In some other context, we will segregate the two. But here, when we talk about attachment, club everything together. So that is why the moralist is a very deadly person, isn't it? Moralist is the most dangerous person. Why? He will never let you live in peace. Anything and everything that you do will be wrong only, isn't it? You cannot do anything right. Almost like Vedanta teacher vechingo. Yeah. It will be almost like this Vedanta class madri தான் இருக்கும், isn't it? Because we are the moralist, we are the Puritans, and we sit and decide what is right and what is wrong for the entire galaxy. We sit and decide what is right and what is wrong, and anybody who doesn't fit under this becomes a problem. So first thing is, it's not about God only, it is about everything that is associated with it. Attachment to God, attachment to morals and ethics, and then attachment to what is known as culture. See, all these moral, ethics, culture, and all is so relative. There is no standard to all that. Whatever that society does at that point of time becomes culture. So there is no absoluteness to it. If you always observe the morals, the ethics, the culture, all that comes from the past. It will always be coming from the past. If the past is very correct, why make any attempt to become better now? The very fact that we are attempting to become better means something in that isn't acceptable, isn't it? It's very simple. I can't say one part of the body I will change, another part of the body I will not change. So the attachment to culture, the attachment to morals, the attachment to ethics, and the attachment to God, all put together is what is called as attachment to religion. So here the word religion has to be used in a very liberal sense. Culture, morals, values, ethics, God, all put together. How does attachment work here? Which culture is the best? My culture or the other culture? And they say cultural shock, isn't it? It is a culture shock. There's no culture shock and all. Attachment didn't. Attachment is functioning there. That's what it means. And when a person says cultural shock, it means attachment is functioning there. I'm not able to accept what I'm seeing. I'm not able to accept what I'm seeing is what gives me the shock. Therefore, when I'm not able to accept what I see, I want to go and immediately correct it. I want to immediately change it. I want to correct it. I want to change it because it is wrong. And this ethical, moral, and culture and religious attachment is deadly. That's why they say religious fanatics. And they say religious fanatics, it's a very generally, it's not about any particular religion or anything. It is about generally the human mind getting attached to these notions, these concepts. From the angle of culture, the present is miserable, the future is disastrous, past is best. If you look at life from the angle of culture, the past is wonderful, the present is miserable. If it continue like this, the future is disastrous, isn't it? The youngsters nowadays don't listen to the elders at all. They have no value for culture, no value for tradition. They don't listen to the elders, and looking at the way they are progressing, looks like the whole thing will be collapsed. Oh, Socrates, help them, they said. This was told to Socrates when this was not told today. This was told to Socrates then. And Socrates lived 2500 years back. Now, if that was what was told to Socrates, this is what is being told now also, isn't it? This is what is being told now also. And 5000 years later also it will be told. It means what? There is something that the human mind is not letting go at all. Socrates turned back and said, there is nothing wrong with the children. How dare you say that there is nothing wrong with the children? He was poisoned. Because he simply said there's nothing wrong with them. It changes. What is the problem? You are having a difficulty because of your attachment. So he said, this man is talking all the wrong. He is the one who's teaching wrong things to the children. What to do now? Give him poison. Attachment to religion, morals, ethics, culture is the deadliest attachment. Why it is deadliest is because from the psychological angle, we can drill in and make the person feel guilty forever. That's why it is deadly. You can talk and talk and talk and convince the person and make the person feel guilty, and for the rest of the time and for the rest of the lifetime, that person can never get out of that guilt. It becomes such a big problem. That is why we say in all other areas, you can never make the person feel that guilty. In all other areas of attachment, if you notice, there will be pain here and there, but you can never make the person feel guilty as though they have committed the worst sin. In using religion, culture, moral values, etc., we can make the other feel that they have done something so bad. They have done something so bad that that lifetime You want to murder somebody for the lifetime and still keep them alive, na? Get attached to religion. So in Vedanta, we say there is no, all this has to be, you have to overcome all the five attachments. Material. To summarize the five, now we'll quickly summarize all the five. The first level of attachment is wealth. We saw, when we discussed that wealth, we saw one of the greatest inventions of human being is wealth, is money. Money is one of the very good invention that made life so easy, so simple. Before that, life was very complicated. It was so complicated before the invention of money. So one of the extraordinary inventions that made life easy is money, isn't it? Remember the example that we gave? A person has a cow, he wants a horse. The person has a cow, he wants the horse. How complicated it will be in those days? Because he has to find a person who wants the cow, and he should be having a horse, and that fellow has to let go of the horse. How transactions would have happened? So difficult. So what they did, one of the beautiful inventions that made life easy is money. Instead of understanding it as a very good tool that makes life easy, attachment develops. Attachment means, remember how we started today. Attachment means you believe there is happiness in that. Attachment means you believe there is happiness in that. Because you believe there is happiness in that, that's why you go and get attached. So if you understand it as a tool, it's a tool that you can use for a transactional purposes, but happiness is unconnected to that. So in Vedanta, it is very clearly said, wealth is not the problem, but seeing wealth as the source of happiness is the problem. One set gets attached to wealth, another set runs away from wealth, thinking that wealth is the root cause of all problems. Vedanta comes in, both extremes are wrong. Make it like, make use of it is the tool. Second is, you keep doing things in the way it ought to be done, wealth keeps coming. Krishyate Lakshmischa Patnyo Purusha Suktam. The Vedic prayer says, wealth and prosperity will be at your doorsteps waiting to attend on you. So the Vedanta talks about the importance of wealth and also how to get that wealth. So there's no need to get attached to wealth. The second attachment is the physical body, the health. Again, the same logic. Only. It is the tool. It's a very good tool for action. So you keep it in good shape, because without the body, actions cannot be done. So you keep the body in good condition. There is no need to get attached to the body. And what does attachment means? Moving in extremes. Attachment means moving in extremes. Either pay excessive attention or don't pay attention at all. That is attachment, moving in extremes in relation to the health. Then in relation to the emotions. What is attachment to emotions? Why can't you scold smilingly, isn't it? You scold is okay, but why can't you smile and scold? Why do you have to frown and how can you smile and scold? You have to frown and then only you have to scream, isn't it? Yeah, frown and scream. This is emotional attachment. Then intellectual. Intellectual means everybody has some ideas about everything. Everybody will have some ideas about everything. And attachment to that. So attachment to that means going and telling the other that it has to be according to my ideas. The communism will want to come and tell the whole world that it is correct. The capitalism will want to come and tell the whole world that capitalism is correct. In India, we take the Shivda of both and we come up with the third thing, isn't it? We will say, no, we'll take the best from here, we'll take the best from here, and what will happen? Best eyes, best nose will not become the best, it look like a caricature, it becomes ugly. So, this is intellectual attachment. And the last one is the spiritual attachment. Spiritual attachment is what we discussed in detail today. With this, we will conclude this topic, mind wreaks havoc. And we will study the next topic. The next topic, fortify the intellect. Ampadinga.
Fortify the intellect. The neglect of the intellect has devastated the world. The damage caused to individuals, communities, and nations has been colossal. The human race has to be restructured with the restoration of the intellect. To reinstate the intellect of the masses is a monumental undertaking. The restructuring cannot be handled by individuals or institutions. It requires the immediate attention and action of international, governmental, and educational bodies. However, the base has to be prepared initially. The world needs to be brought back to a level of sanity, even before launching on the program of rehabilitating the intellect. Here are some guidelines to check certain insane expressions of the mind. People the world over are indiscriminately running after wealth. Earning wealth is not the problem, but its pursuit ought not to escalate to greed, avarice, craving for amassing wealth. The English poet Oliver Goldsmith warns human beings, where wealth accumulates, men decay. The greed for wealth has driven business houses, banks, and financial institutions to borrow or lend limitlessly. The global financial crashes occurring over and over again speak eloquently of this human weakness of lust, greed, avarice. This has adversely affected the lives of people all over the world. Yet there has been no investigation, much less action taken to avoid such periodic financial debacles. The world has been upbraided by the mind's uncontrollable desires. Those desires have to be carefully monitored by external rules and regulations even before attempting globally to develop the human intellect. Another aberration of human behavior in India is the vulgar exhibition of wealth, particularly in the weddings conducted by opulent families. Even those who can ill afford such lavish display borrow heavily, indiscriminately for the purpose. It is an offshoot of the parents' attachment for their children where the intellect plays no part. This promiscuous show of wealth springing from excessive attachment has to be banned to bring about some sanity among humans. Such indiscriminate and uninhibited use of wealth has become competitive and contagious, a great fall from human dignity and culture. The attachment that parents bear for their children further complicates their life by pampering them to indulge indiscriminately in sensual pleasures. The society also provides amenities and facilities for freely indulging in sensual activities, all resulting in the loss of control and direction among the youth. The youth are denied the intellect or the guidance of elders to avoid the evil of promiscuous indulgences in life. Smoking has been banned in public places by governments all over the world. It took them several decades to implement the ban. Why do they not investigate and ban other such gross indulgences? It has become a global issue. It calls for the intervention of international bodies like the United Nations Organization to investigate and check its widespread damage. That would serve as a caution and help the youth to avoid their licentious lifestyle. While the governing bodies thus set the level of human sanity, the educational systems must initiate the program of building the foreign intellect. The educational systems around the world are all directed to gain just information and knowledge, to merely build intelligence. Nowhere has there been, except the Vedanta Academy in India for the last 25 years, a program to rehabilitate the foreign intellect. The need of the hour is to start Vedanta academies all over to implement the time-tested program of developing the human intellect. Veda in Sanskrit means knowledge. Anta means end. Thus Vedanta indicates the ultimate knowledge. Considering the magnitude of this operation, the governmental and educational bodies cannot handle it. It has to be initiated by international bodies like the United Nations Organization. The United Nations University runs several courses except this vital program of developing the human intellect. Those in charge of the UNO themselves need to go through this process of development. 8 such courses completed in the Vedanta Academy has produced phenomenal results. Now it calls for the United Nations University to introduce this course worldwide to resurrect the human intellect and save the world from self-destruction. The Vedanta Academy will be happy to extend its services to implement the program worldwide. The UNO, governmental and educational institutions would need to invest time and effort to understand and digest this extraordinary program with their existing intellect. That would need humility on the part of the investigators and an awareness of the present predicament which humanity faces. But people around the world cannot afford to wait for the ultimate solution. They need to start the program of rehabilitating the intellect individually in their own homes. That would involve the study of Vedanta daily in the early hours of the morning.
The topic fortify the intellect. The intellect gets fortified through knowledge and understanding. So, how do you fortify the intellect? A specific kind of knowledge is required. A unique knowledge is required, and that knowledge imparted would fortify the intellect and strengthen the intellect, develop the intellect. That knowledge that is for the intellect is called Vedanta. You can use the word Veda, you can use the word Vedanta. We use all that very, very synonymously. So the Vedantic knowledge is that which strengthens the intellect. Very difficult is to talk about this intellect because the very paradox of life. The very paradox of life makes it that much difficult for a human being to understand what is intellect or the importance of intellect. Or it can be said, even without this knowledge, life is going on well. No, why unnecessarily? Even without this, we are all doing better only. Where is the why unnecessarily come in some other, why unnecessarily bring in some other knowledge when the existing knowledge itself is making life better? So the first question is, what is better? What is better life? And when we say what is better life, are we talking about better life for just one species, or we are talking about better life as in the whole? Obviously, it is better life for one species only, that is the human beings. And since it is better life only for one species, that is human beings, is it about the welfare of all human beings? It depends on whether CSK is winning or not, isn't it? Yeah, it all depends upon, okay, human beings' life in India is okay, but Pakistan is not. Pakistan obviously no, sir, because they're not humans only, isn't it? In India, again, North India, South India, obviously North India doesn't exist at all, isn't it? So only South India. In that South India, my state. In that state, my city. In my city, my locality. In my locality, my house. In my house, correct, Aparna. In my house, it's me. Where is the problem? Isn't it? So fundamentally, it boils down to better life for whom the whole world is turned around for the betterment of me. To understand this is very difficult. That's why intellect is required. And it is so justified also. This is how it is. No, what is the problem? If the importance of education is understood by the uneducated, there's no problem at all. Again, I repeat, if the problem of education is understood by uneducated, there's no problem at all. But the importance of education is understood by whom? Educated. That is the paradox. The paradox of life is such that it is the educated that understands the importance of education. Logically, it is absurd, isn't it? Logically, who should understand the importance of education? The uneducated. But human logic, life doesn't go according to human logic. It has its own logic. That logic is called the paradox. And intellect is so important because life is full of paradoxes, and this paradoxes has to be resolved. It means you need an intellect. So what is the paradox? The importance of education is understood by the educated. If what you see is what it is, education is not required. Again, another paradox. If what you see is what it is, education is not required. I see it and I understand it. That's it. Why education is required at all? So what is the paradox? Since what you see is not what it is, education is required. Again, another paradox. Since what you see is not what it is, but the senses and the mind and all that gives you a knowledge which is so convincing that what you see is what it is. So that is why the development of intellect, the strength of the process of developing the intellect starts with the step that don't take things for granted. So what is the baby step that you take towards the development of intellect? Don't take things for granted. Now, what is taking things for granted means what you see is what it is. It's so obviously true, sir. There's no need to. It's so obvious that there's no need to even further think or investigate or question or understand because what I see is what it is. Pathone purinjidhu, sir. As soon as I see it, understand it. The capacity to see the end in the beginning is intellect. What is intellect? The capacity to see the end in the beginning. I'm doing something where it is going to lead me to. If I can see it in the beginning, I have a chance, I have a choice. Again, I repeat, the capacity to see the end in the beginning is intellect. If I see it in the beginning, I have a choice. But invariably, what happens is I always get it so much at the end. And by the time I know it at the end, it is of no use because I have to go through the consequences. Going through the consequences, at least will the intellect learn? No. Again, another problem. Going through the consequences, will the intellect learn? No. Because the intellect, because of the non-functioning of the intellect, the blame will be put on the external and it will continue. The blame will be put on the external and it will continue. So what is this fortifying the intellect means? The importance of intellect is understood by one who has an intellect. What you see is not what it is. And the third thing about the intellect is this: the capacity to see the end in the beginning. That's what we call as the penetrative capacity. The penetrative capacity with which you look at your today, you can understand your tomorrow. That's why you need an intellect. You look at your today, you understand your tomorrow. You look at your present, you understand the future. That is intellect. That intellect is through knowledge and understanding. The knowledge of understanding of Vedanta. Knowledge of Vedanta as in not being associated with anything in specific, but from the core you understand what the mind is and what the intellect is. That's all. From the core you understand what is mind and what is intellect. In fact, three things only you got to understand in life. What is action? What is emotion? What is knowledge? Intellect. That's all Vedanta is all about. Again, I repeat, what is action? What is motion? And what is knowledge? That's all it is. We are not talking about Brahman and all here. Because once we get into that discussion, Holocaust of attachment is bound up. Because the person who has no attachment and know how to love others is the one who qualified to discuss Brahman. Again, who's qualified to discuss about Brahman and God? One who has gotten over the attachments and has developed love. He is the one who can discuss about Brahman. Therefore, even if you have to discuss about Brahman, which is another theme of Vedanta, you need to overcome the attachment. Therefore, the preliminary step becomes overcoming attachment. To overcome attachment, you need to fortify the intellect. And to fortify the intellect, you need knowledge and understanding. And then this knowledge has to be reinforced again and again and again. Gautam Buddha said, knowledge is like water on a hot iron plate, he says. So knowledge is like that. When they make those the hot iron plate, they put some water. Why they put that water, I don't know, but they put, isn't it? As soon as it touches the surface, it evaporates. Yeah. In the human being, how do you compare? You scream and shout and blow the lungs out on top of the voice. It will go out. Yeah. It will, as soon as it hits here, there is a I don't know, there is some iron door inside something, isn't it? If there is something inside, doesn't allow it to penetrate at all. It just bounces off. So it is not only the knowledge, it has to be reinforced again and again and again. It has to be reinforced again. Knowledge is gained through 4 quarters. We have seen that. Knowledge is gained through 4 quarters. 1/4 from the books, teachers, discourses. Another 1/4 through your own study, reflection. Another 1/4 through discussing it with peers. The last one, having done all the 3, patiently wait. Time. The Vedanta Academy model is that. That's what he's saying. It's not that you build an institution and you get attached to the institution that you build and you come out and say, hey, this is the best. It's not as gross as that. It is the principle. What is the principle? You don't read 35 books in 2 years. It's not possible. You don't read 45 books in 3 years. It is not, you can read. It's not that you can't read. The first 1/4 of the process of knowledge alone is attended to, the rest is not attended to. So, first thing about the academy model is this. In the 3 years, 15 months, 3 years, not 36 months. Discourses will happen only for 15 months. 3 weeks classes and then 4 weeks, 5 weeks, no classes. 3 weeks classes, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, no classes. It means that much of gap is required. You can't, that much of gap is required. Second, all the 36 months group discussion will happen every day. And the first thing that the visitors hate is the group discussion. First thing the visitors feel at a waste of time is the group discussion. These are பேசினே இருக்கிறாங்க இல்லையா? Why are they talking and talking and talking, not answering? Shankar, correcta? பேசினே இருக்கிறாங்க சார், ஆன்சருக்கே வரமாட்டேன்றாங்க. Meaning, why are they discussing only the question for 1 hour? As soon, even before the person finishes the question, you are ready with 10 answers, isn't it? You are ready with a discourse even before the person finishes the question. So the first thing, sorry, the model of development of intellect is based on this formula. 1/4 is through Shravana, Manana. Sorry, first is Shravana. Manana has 2 parts. The 2 parts of Manana is, one is you sit and reflect by yourself. Since you cannot reflect everything by yourself, you discuss it with your group. You discuss it with your group. That's why it's called group discussion. You don't discuss with the guru. With the guru, you can only have Q&A. You can't have a discussion with the guru. It's not possible. Therefore, you discuss it with the peers. 3 steps are done. And then what happens? It takes time for, so it means what? In that, till it matures, you don't stay quiet. You keep doing this 3 again and again and again. So when we say time means what? It's not that you 3 or you, I have finished all these 3, now I will wait and go and do something else. You will undo everything. So what is meant is, this 3 has to be repeated again and again and again. It takes some time. If it is a lifestyle in the family or the society, it becomes that easy. That's what he's saying in this topic. Fortify the intellect, what he's saying is, if it becomes a lifestyle in the family or in the society culture, it becomes that easy for the intellect to be developed. Not only we talk about the individual development, we want to ensure that it reaches as many as possible. That's why I am also going around wanting to give lectures, sir, isn't it? That is why I'm a commissioner. Yeah, that is why. Yeah, that is why. I also want to go out, and because world needs to know. No, so I also go and start giving. I also go out and start giving lectures. Alam nothing. Yeah, don't do all that. What is meant is, if you have fortified, the very fortification will be sought after. That is the last one. The very fortification will sought after. Ramatirtha says it very beautifully. The duty of the lake is to collect water. It need not advertise that I have water. The duty of the lake is to collect water and just stay quiet. How human beings will know that there is the lake? Water will be drawn, he says. So the model there is sitting and, so what is it? So it is not about developing, creating preachers of Vedanta. That is not the Vedanta Academy model. Is not to create churn out speakers to go out and confuse. As it is, there is enough confusion, isn't it? As it is, so why another 100 more fellows to create illusion? So the model is not churning out speakers after speakers. The model is this. What is the model? You sit, you keep acquiring, you keep strengthening the intellect, you keep fortifying it. By default, it will end up there. To summarize all that he's saying in this paragraph, it is easy for organization, it is easy for Vedanta, it is easy for the development of intellect if it becomes a lifestyle. Or in the past, it was the lifestyle. What we call as the Gurukula. First thing about education is day scholar is the starting point of murdering education. Day scholar is the way in which education got murdered. 8, 9, the children, 8, 9 adults very old. Yeah, by 7, 6, 7, the children will be left with the guru, and they won't go and meet, they will not come out to meet. So by the time they study 12 years, 14 years, the parent face and all would have been forgotten completely. The parent would have forgotten the face of the children would have forgotten the face of the parent. Abba, what a relief it is. What a wonderful lifestyle it is. What a wonderful lifestyle where attachment is not at all there, but only duties and obligations and responsibilities are fulfilled. Because so the first thing about that is, so it was so easy in the past because it was a lifestyle. It was a lifestyle. That's where you find the the Puranic stories talking about even avatar Purushas go to the Gurukula. Even great people went to the Gurukula. And when they go to the Gurukula, that Gurukula is, that's so, if you don't have to call it as one equality community, Gurukula is the only equality community. Even Vasishtha talks about that. Rama and the brothers have to go to the Gurukula. So the age age came, Vasishtha said, send them, and he left. Send them, and he left. And Dasharatha is crying because he couldn't send them. Not only he couldn't send them, they have to walk all the way to the Kula. Why can't bring the whole Gurukula to the palace? He could have brought the entire Kula to the palace. At least I can drop them at the Gurukula, no? At least can I drop them there? Some senior person will come to the palace and they'll say, send them. Vasishtha has said, send them. That's it. And Dasharatha was crying, seeing Rama walking. Yeah, because he has never seen. You have what a jewel. You have a child like Rama. Obviously, you'll get. Yeah. Useless children only we get attached. Now you have a son like Rama. What will happen? Poor Dasharatha, he was so attached. He was crying. He couldn't accept. Vasishtha said, nothing doing. Walk. Let them walk and come. Okay. Second, what is Gurukula? Everybody has to take turns to beg. So everybody will take turns to beg. Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi. That's why even today, it's what they do today and all, it's a drama, it's a farce actually is. Yeah. Nobody's doing all that, but even in some families, when they do the sacred thread ceremony, the father initiates the son into Gayatri. It means from now on, the primary focus is the development of your intellect. Dhiyo yonav prachodayat. Dhiyo yonav prachodayat. Di means buddhi, the intellect. And how that intellect should be like the sun. Should be penetrative. Should be so penetrative. As soon as the sun comes, there is no area of darkness at all. Everything is so clearly visible, not like the torchlight showing. Torchlight also reveals, but it only reveals certain areas. So the areas of ignorance is always more. But here we are very greedy. We don't want knowledge like the torchlight knowledge. We want knowledge like the sunlight. Dhyo yona chodayat. The sun is initiated. And then, second lesson, the mother initiates. The mother initiates. Beautiful tradition it is. The mother initiates the second thing. Father initiates. From today onwards, buddhi develop பண்ணிக்கோப்பா அப்படின்னு they are saying. Yeah, buddhi develop பண்ணணும். First thing is to development of buddhi. Second, the mother. And it is impossible it is very difficult for the father to initiate the child into buddhi. You know why? Two disciplines we have. It is very difficult for the father to say, go and learn from somebody. Because the ego of the father says, Shankar, correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah, the ego of the father says, learn from me. My ego says, who can teach me better than? Who will be nobody can teach you better than me. Therefore, the father says, I am going to send you to the Gurukula to study under the Guru for the development of intellect. So that is father's detachment. Then comes mother. Adi innum complicated. More complicated. Bhiksha it is. The boy says, Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi. Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi means for the next few years, your life is going to be on begging. And who's the first person to give? The mother. Which mother will want the children to go out and beg? When Kaushalya did that to Rama, she fainted, they say, because she understood that this is how it is going to be for another few more years. So what do? They go. Try it out. It's very interesting. When you say try it out, don't literally try it out. Yeah, and all indigestion problem and all comes, I'm not responsible. Yeah. 10 different samples of rice from 10 different houses. 10 different houses, all of them not buying from the same store, same brand, the same rice. Different things from different houses. They do. All will be brought together and put in one pot and cooked. How it will be? Some will be cooked, some will not be cooked, some will be half cooked, some will be overcooked. And all will sit and eat that, including the Guru. Where he need not sit and where there is no need for him to do that. He will also sit and now that way of education, which was a lifestyle, the development of intellect was more like a community program. It was more like a community program. It was more like it was an issue that it was something that everybody was concerned about. That's what he's saying. Fortify the intellect. Today, when he's talking about government and all that, don't take it like you have to go and make an appeal to the government. Not literally in that sense. It is a figurative way of saying it has to become a community. It has to become a priority to the community. And once it becomes a priority to the community, what happens? Intellect. There will be a society of human beings with a very, very good developed intellect. Vedanta Academy model means it has to be understood as the Gurukula lifestyle. Not literally, don't take it literally as that campus. It means that also, but what is meant is that lifestyle. What is that lifestyle? Shravana, Manana, along with it a lifestyle. Along with it certain lifestyle. Where they take care of everything. And they take turns to take care of they will take turns to take care of the system. And what turns they will take? Everything about the Gurukula, it will be done by the students only. it is a very conducive environment for the knowledge to get digested. It is like giving the food and also making sure that how it can get digested, faster, quicker, whatever be the method. Therefore, when he says, fortify the intellect, fortifying the intellect has to be understood in that manner. If it is a priority of the group, it becomes that much easy. However, it will take a very long time to become a, however, it will take a long time to become that a social priority. Till that time, what you can do, individually sit and individually you can sit and do it by yourself. But ideally it should be a community thing. In order to complete the Gurukula thing, we think Gurukula means 10 years, 12 years, 14 years, they study. They have 2 semesters. The 2 semesters is what the calendar we have. The Uttarayana, Dakshinayana calendar we have is the 2 semesters. One semester is the Vedic Vedantic knowledge. Another semester is some skill will be taught according to their Swadharma. We learned Rama went to Gurukula. Where did he learn archery? He didn't go to special archery school, no. So all happened in the Gurukula itself. So that is a very comprehensive way of it. So what do? 6 months, the Vedic Vedantic knowledge will be taught. Another 6 months, some life skill will be taught. So that when the child comes out, when they reach the age of, when they come out of the education, they have a skill to earn their living and also have a intellect. Again, I repeat. So when they come out, not only they, so they will have some skill for their for their uh, for their living, because everybody needs a skill. Swadharma, everybody has a Swadharma, no? So looking at the Swadharma, the Guru will guide the person according to that. So there will be visiting professors. So the main teacher will be the Acharya, and Vasishtha cannot teach archery. So what he will do? He will bring in an external expert. Some visiting faculty will come and teach this for a while, and then somebody will come. A beautiful educational system. And then they said, in this system and all, we don't give them a break and send them away and all. Just keep them there, brainwash them completely, yeah. Hypnotize them completely, brainwash them completely, and send away. Yeah. It's a very beautiful system where both are okay. The practical proof of all that is this. What is the practical proof of the effectiveness of a system? The practical proof of the effectiveness of a system is this. Right from the time of Alexander and before and all that, they came to India for what? Up to British. For what? For the wealth. For the wealth. Simply they came they just came for the wealth. And imagine every time they were looted and plundered, they were able to bounce back again. Ramatirtha gives a beautiful analysis in one of the lectures. The statistics, I don't know, at least getting statistics today and all is not a problem at all. In fact, we don't know what is statistics nowadays, isn't it? And so confusing it is. Everything is so, looks like, so we don't know. In 1902, he gives a beautiful statistic. There is a lecture in one of the volumes. It's called An Appeal to the Americans. It's one that lecture is titled An Appeal to the Americans. 3 பேர் உட்கார்ந்து கேட்கறாங்க அந்த lecturer. 3 fellows were sitting and listening to that. He didn't bother. He just gave the facts. Britishers came. He said Greeks came for what? The Mongolians came for what? The Mughals came for what? The everybody came for what? The Europeans came for what? What was the GDP when East India Company came? What was the GDP in 1947 when they left? It's the proof that second, till look at the tragedy, yeah? Till 17th century, everybody has to take an educational visa and come to India to study. You know that? We didn't know that. We don't even know that. We think we are so backward for 20, we think we are so backward and now only we are all becoming, I don't know. The historian says the books and the libraries took 3 months to get burnt. 3 months to get burnt. It means the amount of knowledge it was there. The amount of knowledge it was there. Universities had thousands of students from all over the world, because this was a central of knowledge, and all the fulcrum is what? The Gurukula education. That's what he's saying. And what is the fulcrum of Gurukula development of intellect? In this topic, Fortify the Intellect, that's what he's saying. In this topic, Fortify the Intellect, what he's saying is, this is what is being said here. Otherwise, it looks like a blatant marketing. Marketing, this is I have done, therefore everybody. It's not so. And we don't do it like so. There's no need to do it like that. It is a fact. It is a fact. So, through logic, you can understand how the system is complete. Through practice, also you can understand how the system is complete. And history also proved how it was a complete system. And still, what happened? It is not a situation today. So he says that system has to be revived. And if that system has to be revived, there has to be an awareness at a very high, and an awareness has to happen at every level of the society. It has to happen. But that will take long time. Don't wait for that. Don't keep complaining. Don't keep waiting for that to happen. Start. Individually, you can start at your places. Individually, you can start at your places. Fortify the intellect. How do you fortify the intellect? There are certain methods that is going to come from the next lesson. Middle path. Beautiful topic. When you go there, we are going to discuss. I think the next lesson should be, I think it is middle path, the next one. So, when you go there, the actual methods of fortifying the intellect will be discussed there. Before it is discussed there, what is relevant is to understand how it was, how it, as long as it was a social priority, how effective it was. Finally, there may not be so much of a gadget-oriented life, but the inner quality of life was better. There may not be a development in terms of gadgets. Again, you should understand, it is not that they didn't know how to develop. They draw a line and they said we should not cross it. In 300 years, we erased that line, and now we are talking about ecological sensitivity. We have to take care of the environment. We have to do that. It's not that we didn't know in the past. If a society can know mathematics, sciences are very easy. Science is very easy for the society that is advanced in mathematics and philosophy. But they drew a line. What is the line they drew? You should not cross that. If you cross that line, it's a disaster. So what they did, they kept it. So from the very initial stages, that line was, what was the line? It was so easy to develop gunpowder. It's not difficult at all to develop a gunpowder. It's not difficult at all with this kind of knowledge. But they said, no, 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 you still fight with bow and arrow and sword only. Why? Because when you drop a bomb, you are not seeing anything. You are not seeing anything at all. You hit somebody directly, you fight. In half a day, the fight will be over. Nobody will want to continue that fight after that. Because when you see somebody in pain right in front of your eyes, somebody is hurt, somebody is screaming, somebody's hand is cut, somebody's leg is cut, screaming, thirsty, dying, what will you do? Will you continue to slaughter or you will stop? You will stop. So they said, it's not that wars didn't happen, but they kept it so, minimal that all this will come to an end. With this example, we conclude. Correct, no? 7:30. Huh? 6:15. Correct. The Vedas talk about don't cut a tree. Where the Vedas should actually talk about what? Cut the tree. Because in the Vedic times, there are only trees around. There are only trees around, and to get a piece of cultivable land was, how difficult it would have been to get a piece of cultivable land for that society. Where there are only trees and greeneries around, Veda says, don't cut tree. The capacity to see the end in the beginning. This is an example I am giving. Like that, I have thousands of examples, but what is capacity to see the end in the beginning? Vedas, they said, don't cut the tree. Why can't we cut a tree? In those times, actually, they should have said, cut. Clear the land, cut the tree, make a livable place. You will be interfering with the sensitivity. You will be interfering with something that you cross the line, that selfishness. You cross that line, you have no idea how selfishness will blindfold it. So today what has happened, that line is being crossed and selfishness have taken over so badly. You follow what I'm saying? That's why he says there has to be a law. The law was preventing it. Vedas is the law. Remember the example that he's giving in the chapter about smoking? It's a Veda means law. There was the law that was banned about cutting the trees, everything. So any form of all form of indulgences, the Vedas banned. You are allowed to enjoy, but you are not allowed to indulge. Enjoyment is different, indulgent is different. Today, we have no clarity between the two. We think indulgence is enjoyment. So Vedas had this distinction. That's why he says, why it takes so much of time for a government to ban smoking? Because so Vedas were the law. And Vedic law was that which is governing the society. And what was banned? Indulgences was banned. What is the starting point of indulgence that has to be banned today? He says, more than 20 people should not go to a wedding. In fact, 20 land is enough, isn't it? 2 fellows is enough and Agni in front. That's all. Wedding, isn't it? The person, 2 fellows getting married, and there has to be a witness for the marriage. And who's the proper witness, the right witness? Agni. That's why Kenopanishad says Agni is Jata Vedas. Agni is all knowing. Na Brahman Gadayadanga. not like Brahman. Agni, that's why for everything, Agni is the Sakshi. Agni Sakshi, they say. Hey, Agni Sakshi, we have done, they say. Why? Because he is the Jata Vedas. He is the all-knower. What is he? What is he? What does all-knower means? He will burn you up if you violate. Yeah, from inside, if you violate the law, he will burn you up from inside. So for wedding, rendu per porum. Who the two people who are getting married and Agni. Examples, not don't take it literally. You people do what you all want to do. He's only saying this is how it works. Fortify the intellect. The law has to be very clear. At the society level, the law has to be very strict. In the past, it was very strict because Vedas were taken as the law. That's why even when they shout on Periya Veda Vakko, they'll say, oh, just because you are saying, is it Veda? Just because you are saying is it Veda? It means it was the constitution. Understand it like that. The moment Veda ceases to be the constitution and something else happened, deterioration started. Now, what is he saying? Reverse it back. Reverse it back. This is how fortify the intellect. So you know this institution, that institution, university, society, which all that means what? What should be the universal constitution? India has a constitution. UK has another constitution. Fight will happen. Which is correct? And America comes with its own constitution. So that's 200 people, 200 constitutions. Means there is no common law. How can there be? How can there be an order in the society? So there is a universal law. What is that universal law? Vedas, Sanatana Dharma. Vedas, Sanatana Dharma. And what is that intent is? Development of intellect. Fortify the intellect. With this, we conclude for today and we'll continue with middle path next week.